Today, Trump is back in the courtroom, this time in New York for his fraud trial. Scientists behind the mRNA vaccine win the Nobel Prize. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy faces an ouster motion from his own party, and late-night shows are back after the Hollywood writers' strike. Welcome to Fine Print, and this is your briefing for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. Former US President Donald Trump was on Monday back in the courtroom in New York. The former president is on trial for business fraud, where he is accused of, among other things, inflating the value of his assets by falsifying financial records. Trump was under no obligation to appear on Monday and did not address the court. He, however, had harsh words for the New York Attorney General Letitia James and Judge Arthur Engoron, who he accused of presiding over a politically motivated exercise. Addressing reporters outside the courthouse, Trump reiterated that his Mar-a-Lago property is worth more than $1 billion, despite it being appraised for only $18 million. The main argument from the prosecution is that Trump overvalues his properties when seeking bank loans, but undervalues them when filing tax returns. For instance, if Mar-a-Lago is as valuable as he claims, he has failed to pay taxes commensurate with the value. Trump's legal defense team failed to request for a jury trial, meaning the judge will make the determination in a case that could last 3 months. The prosecution is seeking a financial penalty of $250 million. In Stockholm, 2 scientists won the Nobel Prize in medicine on Monday for their discoveries that enabled the creation of mRNA vaccines against COVID-19. Hungarian-American Katalin Karikó and American Drew Weissman were feted for their contribution to the unprecedented rate of vaccine development during one of the greatest threats to human health. According to the panel, the pair's groundbreaking findings fundamentally changed our understanding of how mRNA interacts with our immune system. Early mRNA experiments with animals were fatal, which led many scientists to give up on the prospects of mRNA being useful to humans. But Karikó, a professor at Szeged University in Hungary and an adjunct professor at the University of Pennsylvania, and Weissman of the University of Pennsylvania, figured out a tiny modification to the building blocks of RNA that made it stealthy enough to slip past immune defenses. Karikó went on to become a senior vice president at BioNTech, which partnered with Pfizer to make one of the COVID vaccines. Revealing how she got the news, Karikó said that her husband picked up the early morning call before handing it to her to hear the news. She then went on to break the news to Weissman before the Nobel Committee could reach him. She is now the 13th woman to win the Nobel Prize in medicine. mRNA therapies are currently being tested for other deadly illnesses, including cancer, and many scientists are hopeful of future breakthroughs. In Washington, trouble is brewing in the Republican Party. Florida Representative Matt Gaetz on Monday moved to oust Speaker Kevin McCarthy through a motion to vacate the chair. The move marks a major escalation in tensions for a House GOP conference that has been mired in infighting and could be thrown into chaos if McCarthy is pushed out of the speakership. It comes as a bloc of House conservatives have continued to thwart McCarthy, voting against key priorities of GOP leadership and repeatedly throwing up roadblocks to the Speaker's agenda. This motion to vacate follows last week's close call on the government shutdown, where the Gaetz wing of the Republican Party voted no on an appropriations bill, arguing that McCarthy did not go far enough on the spending cuts. Reacting to the motion, Speaker McCarthy tweeted, "Bring it on," in an apparent jab at Gaetz. Should the motion come to a floor vote, the congressman doesn't have enough votes to vacate the Speaker, but McCarthy would need some Democrats to come to his aid. And finally, weeknights in America are about to get more familiar. With the return of all popular late-night TV hosts, their shows have been off-air for 5 months, following a strike by Hollywood writers. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert on CBS and ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live were first to return, with the 2 hosting astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson and actor Arnold Schwarzenegger respectively. Also returning on Monday were Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon of The Tonight Show. Writers were allowed to return to work last week after the Writers Guild of America reached an agreement on a 3-year contract with an alliance of the industry's biggest studios, streaming services, and production companies. Union leaders touted the deal as a clear win on issues including pay and the use of artificial intelligence. That's all we have for you today. Please subscribe and hit that bell button to stay up to date on the most important news.